Remarks, Representative Marshall.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So what this amendment would do is change some of the terminology in the underlying bill. Specifically, rather than referring to the medications as abortion medications, they would be referred to by their actual names, mifepristone and misoprostol. Those medications have far wider uses than just abortion. They have other legitimate medical purposes. And right now, when the state is in a position to where we're trying to find somewhere for this medication to go so it isn't just incinerated and causing, essentially a waste of taxpayer money, this would open up more avenues for placement, potentially recovering costs. So things like full-term pregnancies that are delayed, this can be used as an induction agent for induction of pregnancy or induction of delivery. Another way that this medication can be used is for erosive esophagitis or stomach ulcers. It can be a mucosal protectant. There are ways that our hospitals could use these medications as well. And by changing the terminology in them, it would allow more flexibility for the disposition so that we don't end up in a position where all the medications expire and are incinerated. So I'd urge its adoption.
The good member from the 2nd District, Representative Marshall.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I understand the intent of the initial purchase of this medication. But right now, the only emergency is the fact the medication is going to expire. It's going to expire. The last report that I got was somewhere around 6 months, sometime this summer, the medications are going to expire. This amendment provides flexibility so the medications don't have to go to abortions. If the medications are used only for abortions, we're talking 155,000 abortions occurring between now and summer. That bothers me on several levels, but that is not the spirit of this amendment. The amendment is about waste in the government and trying to find a way to address that. So please support this amendment. All that I'm trying to do with this amendment is ensure that the medication actually can be used, and there are far more purposes than abortions, and I'm hoping it does not get used on 150,000 plus abortions between now and summer.
Remarks, Representative Marshall.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. What this amendment would do is ensure that the medications that are being sent out for the benefits of Washingtonians. This was money that was spent on executive order due to a perceived emergency for the benefit of people in Washington to protect certain rights. This medication should go only to Washingtonians, the taxpayers that footed the bill. There are concerns, whether or not they're possible or not without different licenses, about this money being delivered out of state. I don't know if those are appropriate concerns or not, but this would just provide some safeguards and ensure that the medication does not leave the borders of Washington. So please, I urge your adoption.
Further remarks, the good member from the 2nd, Representative Marshall.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have experienced nothing but bureaucratic hurdles in the practice of medicine in Washington. A lot of the debate here on the floor centers around growing of the bureaucracy. Additionally, an amendment that was just voted down would have provided flexibility to ensure that this medication got into the hands of providers. This amendment is a good amendment to make sure that Washington taxpayers' money is used for Washingtonians. Please vote yes.
Remarks, Representative Marshall.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Again, this is an amendment directly related to recovering costs for our taxpayers. This amendment would just state that rather than give these medications away, it would require that the medications are given away at cost plus $5 to help cover the costs already incurred by DOC for storage and maintaining of the medications. So this is a fiscally responsible amendment, just ensures that we're not completely losing all of the money. Please vote yes.
Good member for the 2nd, Representative Marshall.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Again, maximum flexibility for the state was voted down in a different amendment here. I'm trying to recover cost to the state to ensure that this money is not completely wasted. If there's not somewhere for this medication to go, it would also save the state money if all the medications were just immediately incinerated and not distributed at all, and the state didn't do this again. So please adopt this amendment to ensure we at least have a chance to recover some of the costs.
Further remarks, the good member for the 2nd, Representative Marshall.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Please vote yes on this amendment. This removes the emergency clause because since 2020, well, we can have an extra 90 days. Since 2023, when the initial purchase happened and subsequent purchases happened, due to an emergency because of a court case that returned all the rights back to the states to decide, not one tablet has been given. There is no emergency, there never was, and it would be cheaper for the taxpayers if this medication was incinerated, not given out, expired on the shelf. There are plenty of ways to move forward. We do not need these medications in the system because we haven't given any out, and all of the abortion care in the state of Washington has been unchanged, and nor is it going to change despite my wishes. Please vote yes.
The good member from the 2nd District, Representative Marshall.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Please vote no. Unnecessary bill. I also am happy to hear that control over our own bodies is something that is important, because that's not what I have seen well before I got here by the actions that have come out of the legislature. This bill is unnecessary. This bill is in response to a non-emergency that was perceived as an emergency for political reasons by our executive branch. This medication was purchased as a knee-jerk reaction, and the taxpayers are having to foot that bill. There were several options that were voted no in amendment that would have ensured that health care purposes were applied to the bill and the disposition of the medications. Health care purposes. There was flexibility to ensure the money was not wasted. Now we have not secured a different course moving forward. There was never an emergency. There's an emergency clause on this bill. This emergency was self-inflicted. This is an unnecessary bill. Please vote no. I would rather see this medication incinerated and see that myself learn from the state's mistakes so that it is not happening again. Again, vote no.